Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Melt, fat or lard, in order to separate out impurities. Try the yak butter. Test the limits of. You are trying my patience. Make an effort or attempt. Take a sample of. Put to the test, as for its quality, or give experimental use to. Put on a garment in order to see whether it fits and looks nice. Put on trial or hear a case and sit as the judge at the trial of. Earnest and conscientious activity intended to do or accomplish something. She gave it a good try. Examine or hear, evidence or a case, by judicial process. Give pain or trouble to. Give something useful or necessary to. Melt, fat or lard, in order to separate out impurities. Render fat in a casserole. Give an interpretation or rendition of. The pianist rendered the Beethoven sonata beautifully. Bestow. Render thanks. To surrender someone or something to another. Render up the prisoners. Give or supply. The estate renders some revenue for the family. Pass down. Render a verdict. Show in, or as in, a picture. The face of the child is rendered with much tenderness in this painting. Restate. Words, from one language into another language. She rendered the French poem into English. Give back. Render money. Make over as a return. They had to render the estate. A substance similar to stucco but exclusively applied to masonry walls. Cause to become. The shot rendered her immobile. Coat with plastic or cement. Render the brick walls in the den. An intense or violent exertion. Difficulty that causes worry or emotional tension. She endured the stresses and strains of life. Cause to be tense and uneasy or nervous or anxious. Test the limits of. Become stretched or tense or taut. The rope strained when the weight was attached. A succession of notes forming a distinctive sequence. The act of singing. Remove by passing through a filter. Separate by passing through a sieve or other straining device to separate out coarser elements. Use to the utmost. Exert vigorously or to full capacity. Don't strain your mind too much. Biology. A group of organisms within a species that differ in trivial ways from similar groups. A new strain of microorganisms. A special variety of domesticated animals within a species. He created a new strain of sheep. The general meaning or substance of an utterance. To exert much effort or energy. Straining our ears to hear. An effortful attempt to attain a goal. Rub through a strainer or process in an electric blender. Alter the shape of something by stress. Psychology. Nervousness resulting from mental stress. His responsibilities were a constant strain. Injury to a muscle, often caused by overuse, results in swelling and pain. Physics. deformation of a physical body under the action of applied forces. To stress, single out as important. Difficulty that causes worry or emotional tension. She endured the stresses and strains of life. Special emphasis attached to something. The stress was more on accuracy than on speed. Test the limits of. The relative prominence of a syllable or musical note, especially with regard to stress or pitch. He put the stress on the wrong syllable. Psychology. A state of mental or emotional strain or suspense. Stress is a vasoconstrictor. Put stress on. Utter with an accent. Physics. Force that produces strain on a physical body. The intensity of stress is expressed in units of force divided by units of area. An appraisal of the state of affairs. They made an assay of the contents. Make an effort or attempt. Analyze chemical substances. A quantitative or qualitative test of a substance, especially an ore or a drug, to determine its components, frequently used to test for the presence or concentration of infectious agents or antibodies, etc. A substance that is undergoing an analysis of its components. A written report of the results of an analysis of the composition of some substance. Make an effort or attempt. The police attempted to stop the thief. Enter upon an activity or enterprise. The act of attacking. They made an attempt on his life. Earnest and conscientious activity intended to do or accomplish something. Make an effort or attempt. The infant had essayed a few wobbly steps. Put to the test, as for its quality, or give experimental use to. An analytic or interpretive literary composition. A tentative attempt. Make an effort or attempt. She always seeks to do good in the world. Try to locate or discover, or try to establish the existence of. Go to or towards. A liquid seeks its own level. Inquire for. Seek directions from a local. The movement of a read, write head to a specific data track on a disk. Try to get or reach. Seek a position. Take a sample of. Items selected at random from a population and used to test hypotheses about the population. All are part of a natural object that is collected and preserved as an example of its class. A small part of something intended as representative of the whole. A strong liking. The faculty of distinguishing sweet, sour, bitter, and salty properties in the mouth. His cold deprived him of his sense of taste. A small amount eaten or drunk. Take a taste, you'll like it. Take a sample of. The sensation that results when taste buds in the tongue and throat convey information about the chemical composition of a soluble stimulus. The candy left him with a bad taste. Delicate discrimination, especially of aesthetic values. Arrogance and lack of taste contributed to his rapid success. Have a distinctive or characteristic taste. This tastes of nutmeg. Have flavor. Taste of something. A kind of sensing. Distinguishing substances by means of the taste buds. A brief experience of something. He got a taste of life on the wild side. Distinguish flavors. We tasted wines last night. Experience briefly. The ex-slave tasted freedom shortly before she died. Perceive by the sense of taste. Can you taste the garlic? Take a sample of. Try something new, as in order to gain experience. Put to the test, as for its quality, or give experimental use to. Perform in order to get a role. Put to the test, as for its quality, or give experimental use to. Observe, check out, and look over carefully or inspect. The customs agent examined the baggage. Consider in detail and subject to an analysis in order to discover essential features or meaning. Question or examine thoroughly and closely. Question closely. Provide evidence for. Cause to puff up with 11. Increase in volume. Be shown or be found to be. She proved to be right. Put to the test, as for its quality, or give experimental use to. Establish the validity of something, as by an example, explanation or experiment. Obtain probate of. Prove a will. Prove formally. Demonstrate by a mathematical, formal proof. Take a trial impression of. Trying something to find out about it. Any standardized procedure for measuring sensitivity or memory or intelligence or aptitude or personality, etc. The test was standardized on a large sample of students. A set of questions or exercises evaluating skill or knowledge. When the test was stolen, the professor had to make a new set of questions. Test or examine for the presence of disease or infection. Examine someone's knowledge of something. The teacher tests us every week. Put to the test, as for its quality, or give experimental use to. The act of testing something. The act of undergoing testing. He survived the great test of battle. Achieve a certain score or rating on a test. She tested high on the LSAT and was admitted to all the good law schools. A hard outer covering as of some amoebas and sea urchins. Determine the presence or properties of a substance. Show a certain characteristic when tested. He tested positive for HIV. Undergo a test. She doesn't test well. Put on a garment in order to see whether it fits and looks nice. Bring to an end. Settle conclusively. The father adjudicated when the sons were quarreling over their inheritance. Put on trial or hear a case and sit as the judge at the trial of. Judge tentatively or form an estimate of quantities or time. Pronounce judgment on. Form a critical opinion of. I cannot judge some works of modern art. An authority who is able to estimate worth or quality. Put on trial or hear a case and sit as the judge at the trial of. The judge tried both father and son in separate trials. A public official authorized to decide questions brought before a court of justice. Determine the result of a competition. Earnest and conscientious activity intended to do or accomplish something. Made an effort to cover all the reading material. use of physical or mental energy, hard work. He got an A for effort. A series of actions advancing a principle or tending toward a particular end. Contributed to the war effort. A notable achievement. The book was her finest effort. Attempt by employing effort. We endeavor to make our customers happy. Earnest and conscientious activity intended to do or accomplish something. Wished him luck in his endeavor. A purposeful or industrious undertaking, especially one that requires effort or boldness. Attempt by employing effort. Earnest and conscientious activity intended to do or accomplish something. A purposeful or industrious undertaking, especially one that requires effort or boldness. Get to know or become aware of, usually accidentally. Listen and pay attention. We must hear the expert before we make a decision. Examine or hear evidence or a case by judicial process. The jury had heard all the evidence. Perceive sound via the auditory sense. Receive a communication from someone. We heard nothing from our son for 5 years. The process whereby heat changes something from a solid to a liquid. The power failure caused a refrigerator melt that was a disaster. Become less clearly visible or distinguishable. Disappear gradually or seemingly. The tree trunks are melting into the forest at dusk. Become less intense and fade away gradually. Her resistance melted under his charm. Become more relaxed, easygoing, or genial. Become or cause to become soft or liquid. The sun melted the ice. Lose its distinct outline or shape, blend gradually. Hundreds of actors were melting into the scene. Reduce or cause to be reduced from a solid to a liquid state, usually by heating. Melt butter. Reduce or cause to be reduced from a solid to a liquid state, usually by heating. Melt down gold. A small stream. Have a particular form. The story or argument runs as follows. Perform as expected when applied. Does this old car still run well? Compete in a race. He is running the marathon this year. Become undone. A row of unraveled stitches. She got a run in her stocking. A score in baseball made by a runner touching all 4 bases safely. The Yankees scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th. Run, stand, or compete for an office or a position. Who's running for treasurer this year? Come unraveled or undone as if by snagging. Her nylons were running. Direct or control projects, businesses, etc. She is running a relief operation in the Sudan. Extend or continue for a certain period of time. The film runs 5 hours. A race between candidates for elective office. He is raising money for a Senate run. Include as the content, broadcast or publicize. Pass over, across, or through. The act of testing something. Travel a route regularly. Carry out a process or program, as on a computer or a machine. Run a new program on the Mac. Flee. Take to one's heels, cut and run. If you see this man, run. Cause something to pass or lead somewhere. Have a tendency or disposition to do or be something, be inclined. These dresses run small. Stretch out over a distance, space, time, or scope. Run or extend between 2 points or beyond a certain point. Service runs all the way to Cranberry. The act of running, traveling on foot at a fast pace. He broke into a run. Cause to emit recorded audio or video. Keep company. The heifers run with the bulls to produce offspring. Change or be different within limits. Interest rates run from 5 to 10%. Deal in illegally, such as arms or liquor. Continue to exist. A race run on foot. She broke the record for the half-mile run. An unbroken series of events. Nicholas had a run of birdies. Reduce or cause to be reduced from a solid to a liquid state, usually by heating. The pouring forth of a fluid. American football. A play in which a player attempts to carry the ball through or past the opposing team. The defensive line braced to stop the run. Be diffused. These dyes and colors are guaranteed not to run. Move along, of liquids. Progress by being changed. Run through your presentation before the meeting. Pursue for food or sport, as of wild animals. The dogs are running deer. An unbroken chronological sequence. The play had a long run on Broadway. A regular trip. The ship made its run in record time. A short trip. Take a run into town. Be affected by, be subjected to. Run at temperature. Be operating, running or functioning. The car is still running, turn it off. Carry out. Run an errand. Cause an animal to move fast. Run the dogs. Cause to perform. Run a subject. Change from one state to another. Run amok. Cover by running. Run a certain distance. Make without a miss. Move about freely and without restraint, or act as if running around in an uncontrolled way. Who are these people running around in the building? Move fast by using one's feet, with one foot off the ground at any given time. Don't run, you'll be out of breath. Occur persistently. Musical talent runs in the family. Run with the ball, in such sports as football. Sail before the wind. Set animals loose to graze. The continuous period of time during which something, a machine or a factory, operates or continues in operation. The assembly line was on a 12-hour run. The production achieved during a continuous period of operation, of a machine or factory, etc. A daily run of 100,000 gallons of paint. Travel rapidly, by any, unspecified, means. She always runs to Italy, because she has a lover there. Unrestricted freedom to use. He has the run of the house. Cause physical pain or suffering in. Afflict with the plague. Cause great unhappiness for, distress. She was afflicted by the death of her parents. Pretend to have certain qualities or state of mind. He acted the idiot. Behave unnaturally or affectedly. She's just acting. Something that people do or cause to happen. A legal document codifying the result of deliberations of a committee or society or legislative body. Perform an action, or work out or perform an action. Think before you act. A short performance that is part of a longer program. He did his act 3 times every evening. Perform on a stage or theater. She acts in this play. Have an effect or outcome, often the one desired or expected. How does your idea work in practice? Behave in a certain manner. Show a certain behavior, conduct or comport oneself. You should act like an adult. Play a role or part. She wants to act Lady Macbeth, but she is too young for the role. A manifestation of insincerity. He put on quite an act for her benefit. A subdivision of a play or opera or ballet. Be engaged in an activity, often for no particular purpose other than pleasure. Be suitable for theatrical performance. This scene acts well. Discharge one's duties. She acts as the chair. Give an incentive for action. This moved me to sacrifice my career. Be in a state of action. Change location. Move, travel, or proceed, also metaphorically. The soldiers moved towards the city in an attempt to take it before night fell. The act of changing location from one place to another. The movement of people from the farms to the cities. Cause to move or shift into a new position or place, both in a concrete and in an abstract sense. The director moved more responsibilities onto his new assistant. Perform an action, or work out or perform an action. We must move quickly. The act of changing your residence or place of business. They say that 3 moves equal 1 fire. Have a turn. Make one's move in a game. Have an emotional or cognitive impact upon. Follow a procedure or take a course. A change of position that does not entail a change of location. Movement as a sign of life. Progress by being changed. Propose formally, in a debate or parliamentary meeting. Arouse sympathy or compassion in. Her fate moved us all. Change residence, affiliation, or place of employment. We moved from Idaho to Nebraska. Dispose of by selling. The chairman of the company told the salesman to move the computers. Game. A player's turn to take some action permitted by the rules of the game. Go or proceed from one point to another. The debate moved from family values to the economy. Live one's life in a specified environment. She moves in certain circles only. Move so as to change position, perform a non-translational motion. He moved his hand slightly to the right. The act of deciding to do something. He didn't make a move to help. Serve oneself to, or consume regularly. Fool or hoax. Call for and obtain payment of. fold up. Take in the sales. See or watch. Take up mentally. Hear, usually without the knowledge of the speakers. Earn on some commercial or business transaction. Earn as salary or wages. Take into one's family. Accept. Suck or take up or in. Take in, also metaphorically. Express willingness to have in one's home or environs. Take up as if with a sponge. Make clothes smaller. Please take in this skirt, I've lost weight. Provide with shelter. Visit for entertainment. Take in the sights. The income or profit arising from such transactions as the sale of land or other property. Be capable of holding or containing. This box won't take all the items. Remove something concrete, as by lifting, pushing, or taking off, or remove something abstract. Take the gun from your pocket. Serve oneself to, or consume regularly. I don't take sugar in my coffee. Make a film or photograph of something. Take a scene. Be designed to hold or take. This surface will not take the die. Require, time or space. Take somebody somewhere. Can you take me to the main entrance? Have sex with, archaic use. He had taken this woman when she was most vulnerable. Have with oneself, have on one's person. She always takes an umbrella. Receive or obtain regularly. We take the Times every day. Admit into a group or community. Head into a specified direction. Pick out, select, or choose from a number of alternatives. Take into consideration for exemplifying purposes. Assume, as of positions or roles. Interpret something in a certain way. Convey a particular meaning or impression. How should I take this message? Lay claim to, as of an idea. Accept or undergo, often unwillingly. Make use of or accept for some purpose. Take a risk. Take something or somebody with oneself somewhere. Engage for service under a term of contract. Shall we take a guide in Rome? Be stricken by an illness, fall victim to an illness. Take on a certain form, attribute, or aspect. Take as an undesirable consequence of some event or state of affairs. Get into one's hands, take physically. Can you take this bag, please? Require as useful, just, or proper. It takes nerve to do what she did. Occupy or take on. Receive willingly something given or offered. Be a student of a certain subject. Proceed along in a vehicle. Point or cause to go, blows, weapons, or objects such as photographic equipment, towards. Ascertain or determine by measuring, computing or take a reading from a dial. Take a pulse. Be seized or affected in a specified way. Take sick. Buy, select. I'll take a pound of that sausage. Carry out. Take action. Experience or feel or submit to. Obtain by winning. Winner takes all. Take by force. Take into one's possession. I'll take 3 salmon steaks. The act of photographing a scene or part of a scene without interruption. Travel or go by means of a certain kind of transportation, or a certain route. He takes the bus to work. Serve oneself to, or consume regularly. Use up, resources or materials. This car consumes a lot of gas. Spend extravagantly. Eat up completely, as with great appetite. Destroy completely. The fire consumed the building. Engage fully. The effort to pass the exam consumed all his energy. Serve oneself to, or consume regularly. Take up mentally.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.